Okay, so misconception, we're up to misconception number 16, which is that science and Torah are not compatible. This is a misconception. The truth is that Torah and science are sometimes compatible and sometimes they're not. It all depends on where is science at. Basically, there's a lot of things that we know were discovered in science recently in the past 100 years that were known already in Judaism, were known in the Talmud, from our sages, especially in astrology, astronomy. We had knowledge, and the idea is that no, science is not incompatible with Torah. It is actually compatible and should be compatible, meaning that whatever is not compatible yet is because we only know so much about science. As you know, until a certain time, people thought the world was flat. Then they got more knowledge, then they found it was round. People thought that, there's always new discoveries. Each time there's a new discovery, a new theory, a new something new proven in science, then we go to the next stage of understanding. We thought that before, that space that was completely empty, now we know it's filled with dark matter. And the truth is, the more we understand science, the more, and that's the way more the Kabbalists, the Sfarim Kedoshim speak about it, is the more we understand science, the more we can use science as a vessel to actually understand the Torah. Therefore, one should, actually, the Vinagon will push his students to learn the sciences, each one with the best of his ability, choose a science where he's the best, and then use that to become a great Torah scholar and make it part of the Torah. As we know, the menorah that we have, right, with the branches coming from the outside, those represents the 7 sciences that come at the root, actually, from the Torah itself. Now, sometimes we're science, but the science doesn't prove. So the science says, oh, the world is 30.5 billion years old. We don't have any problem with that. Maybe it's 13.5 billion years old. Maybe it's 7 days. That's not the problem. We have, according to the Talmud, some calculation, Rabbi, from Ari Kaplan, that shows how actually, according to the Talmud, the world is also 13 billion years old. So the way I like to put it is that most of the time science is compatible with Torah, and science is here as a tool to understand the Torah better. And as life goes, this is why today we have more scientific discoveries than we ever had, right? Within 100 years, more than we ever had in all of history. This is because the world is becoming ready to receive more and more spiritual information and understanding. And therefore, everything is going so fast, every day faster. We are getting ready to understand the spiritual world, and therefore science is exploding in giving more and more revelations, more than ever before, about the natural state of the world. Now we have the quantum physics and quantum mechanics, all sciences that basically sound spiritual. So the basic idea is that at the end, science is nothing else than the body of the soul, right? By understanding my body, by seeing the symptoms in my body, I will know what's happening in me, right? So by understanding the science, we can understand the inner workings of creation. But my body doesn't necessarily always represent my soul. So there's a harmony. There has to be a harmony between science and Torah. between body and soul. However, the body doesn't always reflect until I understand my body, right? It's like a metaphor. My body is a metaphor for who I am, for my soul. So there's a harmony, but we're not always already there. The science hasn't been completely, is still catching up to understand the true nature of the spiritual. I'm pretty sure, I mean, there's already some people who speak about that in like 20, 30 years, science will start proving, the spiritual. Science will become spiritual. It will not be something that just, say it's physical and the way it's understood today. So yes, science is compatible with Torah in most cases, and there's no contradiction. We should try to marry them, but when it's not in harmony, that usually means that the science didn't catch up to the Torah knowledge. Okay, that's 16. It's not a big misconception, but I think a lot of people sometimes want to say, oh, there are no dinosaurs because they don't speak about dinosaurs in the Torah. No, we have proofs that they are bones of dinosaurs. Why? Of course, God could technically make a miracle that, they should be bones already made, but what's the point? Well, like, why making dinosaurs of that thing, if there's no point, right? Everything is here to teach us something. So everything in science, in the physical world. So making dinosaurs already dead, like, just doesn't make sense. We have to use, Rav Hirsch says, and a few others say, we have to use our common sense, right? We have to be logical and common sense. We live in the world of nature. We live in the world of physicality and science, and it's there for a reason. We use mathematics in the Talmud. We use, so we're meant today to try to reconcile the two, if you can say so. In the past, as you know, in the times of the church will kill and destroy and will kill people that were speaking science because they felt it was a danger to their beliefs and people will, fall apart. Today, we actually use science to prove Torah. So it's almost, we're going the opposite way, and it's great. It helps us having more faith. That's like I say, today, if you don't believe in God, it's because you haven't learned enough science. Everything is basically indicating more and more that the spiritual world exists, that it's real. When you read what it says in science and then you read what it says in Kabbalah, you say, like, it's the same thing, just a different language. All right, I'm getting too long on that one, but it's a fascinating topic. Okay, all right. So misconception number 17 is that I only need to believe in God, right? I think we have spoke a little bit about something similar in the past, on the same line, but here it's a little bit different. Right? There's a mitzvah to believe in God, to have emunah. And one of the misconceptions is I believe, it's like, we're not here to believe. I'm sorry. Judaism is not about belief, because if you believe something, maybe you're wrong. So your whole life, you're going to believe something. If it's wrong, so you wasted the entire life believing something that was wrong. What's wrong with you? We don't do that. That's not that's a goyshikov. We're here to know. We're here to be convinced. We're here to be certain. God doesn't want. Emunah doesn't mean blind faith. There's something called emunah pshuta, that you obviously you go and you follow what your guts, and you feel that there's something deeper. So yes, but that's more spiritual thing. Emunah and bitachon, right? Those are meant to be used as a tool to go away from doubt. to go away from blind faith, because you can believe in any religion. Why do you choose Judaism as opposed to this one? Oh, I believe in this. Well, I believe in that. That's not, that doesn't help anyone. The greatest danger in the world, the people who are the most dangerous are the believers. Because why? I believe I am God. I believe I am Moshiach. French Moshiach, how do you like it? I believe I am the best, I believe whatever. Hitler had great beliefs. He believes he was doing a good thing for the world. Stalin, right? So they all had a great belief, but they were completely wrong and evil. So you tell me that a believer is good? No. As a Jew, the mitzvah, and the Ramchal says explicitly, the Rambam also speaks, we have to believe and know, meaning that it's the process. Yes, at the beginning, I don't know 100%. I have to go out there. I have an obligation. This is something that people don't realize. We have an obligation to make ourselves convinced and sure that what I'm doing is true, that the Torah is really from God, that this religion is really good and perfect and from God. I cannot just because my parents, what if your parents were Buddhist, or if your parents were Christian, or Islam, or any? So, you're not gonna ask if what I'm doing is good for the world? Some parents are confused. Some people, leaders, are confused. I mean, look at the world today, it's a mess. So, I have to research, is my religion doing something good, something positive for the world? If not, maybe, okay, there's a problem in my religion, or maybe it's part of the religion. I mean, in any religion, any group, there's something wrong. But at the core, if I see the core of it, does it sound pure? Does it sound holy? Does it sound like God will say such a thing? So we can be sheep anymore. No more sheep. No more sheeping. It's time to be leaders, and leaders that know, or followers, but that know truly what the real thing is. Only someone who strongly knows that this is the truth, that I'm convinced, I know this book, the Torah, is from God. And trust me, there's a lot of proofs. There's a lot of proofs. I mean, we spoke about science before, but and unfortunately, people don't go out of their way to find the proof. And you have to know. I mean, look at, there's the famous book, the Kuzari. Every Jew should know that book, right? Debates. Jews have been debating people, all religion, for all the years, and we were never defeated. I mean, maybe not one-on-one conversation, but sometimes yes. But in terms of on a global, we still have the Torah. We're still unproven. We're still strong, and the rabbis are the smartest people on earth. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but we know that Jews were never accused of being stupid, right? Jews are known to have really the heads on their shoulders and to be very smart and understand things very well. So we have 60% of Nobel Prize, even if we're not religious. So we understand that this is something that we need to do and prove ourselves that what I'm doing is the right thing, because then you're really a powerful pillar of strength, and you're not gonna do. You're gonna be strong. You're gonna know that what you're doing is the right thing. And if you feel it's not the right thing, then it's not the right thing. Why would you follow something that you think is not the right thing? That's not true. But it's our obligation of every human being to search and strive for truth. Because if we don't do that, then just take the vaccine, or just don't take the vaccine, or just vote Biden, or just vote Trump, or okay, then nothing matters. So what is, you got to have your opinion, and you got to search for what the truth is until you find the proof of God, the proof that the Torah is from God. And you can only do it on your own. Nobody can convince you, because everybody's going to try to convince you of what they believe. therefore, the real right way to do it is that someone shows you all the evidence. You make your own research and you look for people who not trying to, when I do kiru, when I go out there to try to bring people closer to God, I'm not doing it forcefully or like, I want you to be religious. I don't care. I want you to be happy. I'm very happy. That's why I chose to be religious, because I believe this is from God, and therefore this has to be the happiest way of living as a human being. Judaism is if it's really from God, right? Let's say I always like to repeat that principle. If Judaism is really from God, it has to be the most powerful and happy and pleasurable experience of life you can have. Otherwise, what's the point? You think God is here to torture you and make you miserable? No, this is all in our hands. And if it's from God, then it has to be amazing. It has to be perfect. It has to be beautiful. It has to be enlightening. It has to be pleasurable. It has to be good. And therefore, it's up to you to look for it, because a lot of people live Judaism in a destructive way, in a negative way, in a not pleasurable way, but maybe they're not living the real Judaism. So you got to find out also what's the real Judaism. And that's why we have those misconceptions to figure it out. All right. So that was the misconception, that it's enough to believe, just believe in God, and don't have to be sure. No, you have to be convinced. You have to be convinced. I am personally convinced. Until you can disprove me, I have thousands and thousands of people. No, I'm exaggerating. But I had dozens of people who in university, through science and philosophical debate, to try to disprove certain things, or very weak all the time. We have something very strong, and I don't think there's any other religion as strong as us, with as many proofs as us, with as many as much clarity, and but you have to be reasoning. What's happening is that, how can you be, when I tell people, I'm going to show you the proofs, okay, that I had, that convinced me 100%. If I show you the proof, okay, I'm talking to you who is listening now. If I show you the proof now that Judaism is really from God, that the Torah is really from God, will you start becoming religious? And a lot of people will say no. I've done it before, and to say no. Why? And that's an honest answer. Because they're not emotionally ready. You can understand it here. Wow, that's so true. But emotionally, you're not there. Like, I can't. There's so much pain. I have to reject my whole previous life. Not that everything that I did was a lie, or whatever it is that, or I'm emotionally don't have the strength to start a new life like that, spiritually or whatever. So we have to really be honest with ourselves. A lot of us are not honest with ourselves. But if tomorrow you come to me and you prove to me that the Torah is not from God, goodbye. I might do some still Jewish stuff, because a lot of them are good, but I will not do a lot of things that I do now, because then the Torah is not true, right? But we have to be honest. Is it real or not? God is not kidding, right? And yeah, and to do that is sometimes as difficult and powerful as doing this. So we have to be honest with ourselves and fight for truth and search for truth. All right. Misconception number 18. Okay, I speak it as a misconception because I think I've seen a lot of people not even realizing it was something to do or to be careful about. So the misconception is, I don't have to be careful about nature and animals, or my health, when I eat and stuff like that, but more focused on nature and animal. What we see sometimes, unfortunately, is that, and this by Jews, non-Jews, religious, non-religious, But we're speaking about Judaism here. People who are Jewish and don't treat animal correctly, and or they will cut a tree or destroy branches or hurt animals, or go hunting or whatever it is that they do. As a Jew, Judaism is all about creating a Gan Eden, creating the most beautiful, respectful world, and especially in regards to nature and animals. We are supposed to not even cut the leaf of a tree for no reason. Cut a flower if you have a specific reason, because you're trying to build something, right? A house, or you need to an animal to eat. So yes, yes, you can do it. If you don't have already chicken in the supermarket, then go get chicken. But why we don't have today rallies, or not rallies, but like gathering against what is done to nature and animals from the Jews? Meaning that we Jews were supposed to protect God's world. It says that God put us in Gan Eden, and we're supposed to protect that garden, protect the animal of that garden, to protect the nature of that garden. We're responsible for the world. When I see people throwing things, smoke a cigarette and throw it in the streets, like, would you do that and throw your cigarette in your apartment, in your own room? No. So what do you do outside? This world is our world. This is my nature. The world, the nature that I see, the forest, is like my garden. We don't understand that this world is alive, has spiritual in it. Animals, nature is something that is very alive. It has an energy behind it, and an energy that, unless you treat it well, it's going to react. I mean, one of the beliefs is that everything that's happening in nature today, and the way our body reacts to the vaccine or to corona or to all this, again, the world is speaking to us. Nature is speaking to us. As we know, before and after the sin of Adam Arishon, the animals were not scared of man before, meaning there was no respect, there was no dignity. Before, they were in awe of men. So then we needed protection from the animal, meaning that nature reacts to the way we treat it. You mistreated the world now is going to go back at you. Karma is a very real thing. We reasoned one of the things that I always teach regarding the 4 character traits, was that there are 4 elements, right? Earth, water, air, and fire. And those 4 elements correspond to 4 negative character traits. And basically, if you don't have those character traits well, meaning if you don't work on it, and you, as a society, as a nation, you work on it, you are going to bring those elements to rebel against you. It's like we get sick from our own Yetzer Hara, from being very stressed, have an anxiety from everything that we don't deal inside of us. We get sick from it. So those are the things that we have to be aware of, and that we as human beings, and especially as Jews, we have a responsibility to respect nature, to respect animals, to respect our own bodies. Like you say, how come Coca-Cola is kosher? Okay, it has kosher ingredients, but Coca-Cola destroys your body, right? It's just one of many unhealthy foods. Or sugar, right? Tons of sugar. So we're going to put a stamp of kosher on something that restores your body. It doesn't make sense. Oh, but it's kosher. So it is an illusion. We don't understand that we have to protect our physical health and our physical world. The physical world is important to the soul. The physical world, the material world, is important to spirituality. The world is to the spiritual what the body is to the soul, and therefore we need to be proactive in valuing and protecting and loving the physical and the material instead of rejecting it. The physical and the spiritual and physical are male-female energies. The physical world is the female energy, and the spiritual world is the male that is trying to become one with it. So unless the male takes care of the female and doesn't put it as second class and doesn't put it as something that is not important, you're just physical, or you're materialistic. It's like bad. It's just physical. It's better to be only spiritual. No, that's not Judaism. Judaism is the perfect harmony between the two. And the holy books of Kabbalah says that the holiness of all, the highest spirituality of everything, is actually hidden well within the physical. Very easy to see. Within my body that is very physical, with so many physical desire and things like that, you think that's not spiritual, but within there's a huge soul. And that's why the woman, especially the woman who appears on the outside to be more superficial, more physical, because she wants to dress nicer or put more makeup and look always outside beautifully, she has the greatest spirituality in her soul. That is, we know Abraham and Sarah is with this week's parsha, Lech Lecha. Sarah had the greatest soul. Her nevuah, her level of connection to Hashem, to the spiritual world, was greater than Abraham. And that destroys the 2,000 years of looking, or 3,000 years of looking at the woman as a less spiritual being, as a more, she's good for the home and the children and the thing, and so all physical. Chas v'shalom. She's the one who hides the most spirituality. And that's why there's a rising up of the feminine power today, a female energy, and to rebalance the thing and understand that this physical and the female energy, the material energy, is actually hides in it the greatest spirituality. So that's okay, we're a bit on a tangent, but it's all connected. So the physical world, is very powerful and spiritual, and we have to protect it and love it. So yes, we have to protect the world, we have to protect the human beings, but we have to take care of the consummation problem, the problem that we're destroying all those forests. It should matter to the Jews that the Amazon forest is getting destroyed. It should matter to the Jews that a lot of fish are dying because of all the pollution. It should matter to the Jews, right? Save the whales. It's not, or save rare species, or species that are being extinguished, disappearing. We should care about that too. Now, obviously, we have to start caring about human beings that already we are killing each other already, so, and hating each other. Obviously, we have to start with that. But sometimes, if you cannot show love to an animal, how are you going to show love to a human being? It goes together. There's life force in there. It's an energy that God put in there to be alive. Everything created, even the mosquito, is something given by God, right? God created the mosquito. God created the spider. God created the snake. God created all the things. You're not going to respect it? You want to kill it? You want to destroy it? You don't like it? It doesn't look good. Would you do the same with, oh, you killed the mosquito. Why don't you kill the dog? Or kill a lion? Or kill a human being? Yeah, just kill. You don't like it. It's not about like. It's about there is a purpose, the life force. Now, I'm not saying something if you're in danger. Yes, in danger, we have to protect ourselves. But understanding that everything is precious. Everything is precious. Everything is from God, therefore everything is precious. Everything hides in it something deeper. So we have to be Kiddush Hashem, and as Jews, show that we care when we're out there in the world, being extra careful, especially if you have one of those, or a Jewish star, or a skirt, or whatever, that you show that you're Jewish. Show extra care for nature and for animals and for people, because otherwise it's a Chilul Hashem. Okay, we'll do one more of the misconception. That's misconception number 19. Okay, misconception 19 is basically the misconception that a rabbi is just someone who is here to teach you Torah, or that, and that it's okay to, and that the relation with the rabbi is just someone you ask question once in a while, and whenever you need. This is not a rabbi. There's something called a melamed, a teacher of Torah, and this was someone who's called a Rebbe. Rebbe, which is like a rabbi for me, a personal Rebbe, personal rabbi. There's a problem today where people don't have a Rebbe. Most people don't have a Rebbe, as far as I understand and know. Most people have a melamed. Most people have a rabbi, but don't have a Rebbe. The difference between a rabbi and a Rebbe is that a Rebbe is someone with who you actually enter into a deep relationship. It's such a powerful relationship that it says that your Rebbe is going to be next to you in Olam Haba, okay? Or next to you in hell if you follow a Rebbe that is not good. You have to, we have to maybe be careful who we choose. A Rebbe is not someone who necessarily knows so much Torah. Yeah, the more Torah, the better, but only if it's someone that has good character traits and worked on his character traits. That's the key for someone who is going to have a pure Torah and you can trust. Now, how you choose a Rebbe? It has to be someone that you feel connected to. When he speaks, you can relate to it. It makes sense. It makes you want to be a better human being. It makes you want to come closer to God. The Torah he teaches is a Torah that speaks to you. That's what a real Rebbe is. We're supposed the laws, the halachos of a Rebbe is the same as a father. A Rebbe, when he chooses students, and students are supposed to ask, this is not done today, supposed to ask, can you please be my Rebbe? It's rare that it's done. And that has to be the same for men and women. It means that your Rebbe at that moment, if he says yes and commits, and it's a big responsibility because he becomes responsible for you physically and spiritually. And you become like his child. Spiritually, you become like his child. And it's more, that's why there's even a strange halachot that say if you have a father and a Rebbe drowning, you save your Rebbe first. Because your Rebbe will give you Olam Haba, and your father only gave you Olam Hazeh. Right? And Olam Haba is even more important. So you need your Rebbe more than your father. Now, obviously, on the practical level, I'm not sure if we will do that for obvious reasons, but it's to teach you at least the concept of the importance of having a Rebbe as opposed to a father. Yes, Dori?
That is exactly what you are for me.
Oh,
and thank you.
Thank you for the. Thank you for making me blush. It's my honor. It's my honor. But yes, we need. We need to understand a Rebbe is someone who understands. That's very important. A Rebbe is someone who can understand people, who understands relationship, who understands life. There are rabbis out there that are not meant for that. They're called rabbi because they teach Torah, but it doesn't mean that one should choose that person as a Rebbe. A Rebbe has to be someone that can guide you, guide your soul, guide you as an individual who has a relationship with you and knows you like a family member. And that Rebbe will pray for you and do what he can to elevate you and bring you close to God. When we have a Rebbe, Hashem speaks to you through your Rebbe when you have a question. The answer that the Rebbe is going to come up is, or what you're going to hear from him, is usually a message from Hashem of what you're supposed to hear. So we have to be very careful for that. And obviously, you don't always have to have the same Rebbe your whole life. You can have a Rebbe and then you find someone even greater, so you go to the next level. And there's no, if your Rebbe is a real Rebbe, he will be happy that you go to someone even better than him for you. So that's requires a lot of humility, but that's really how we should look at it. We know we sit Shiva even for a Rebbe, right? Your personal Rebbe, Rebbe Muvak, we mourn, almost like the same. We mourn one day instead of 7 days, as if we lost a parent. That's the power of the closeness of what a Rebbe is, as opposed to a rabbi. And the danger in halacha is that if the rabbi gives you a psak, we call once in a while, but he doesn't know you, he might give you an answer that is not fit for you because he doesn't know you. So, I mean, a real posek will ask the right question to know exactly the situation. But if you have a Rebbe, it's even better. He knows you for longer, and the more precise, the more intimate he knows you, the more he'll be able to give you, to pass him for you the right way. Okay, so we're gonna stop here for the misconception. One second, I'm gonna stop that first part.